series practice.
Yep, you heard it there. Grid series practice. We're going out thinking we're in a practice session. Again, the same as the previous round of the grid series. They have told us both rounds we've been present that the first session is a 5-minute practice session. That's not true. The first session is a 5-minute qualifying session. If Oscar had gone out knowing he was in a qualifier, he might have had a bit more grit between his teeth and he might have got stuck in a bit more. But it is what it is. They're giving us the wrong information in the briefing. So this video isn't going to be a pretty one. It's not one where I'm coming in to edit and say, oh, look how well Oscar did. Didn't he have a great night? No, I'm going to be straightforward. This video is simply to highlight the fleet of karts at Teamsport Birmingham, the lack of attention, the lack of care for them, and how shockingly shite they've become, especially since sort of September time. We haven't had one decent night now in 6+ months where we can go home and say that Oscar's track position was based on his talent purely. Every single race event that we've been in there for 6+ months has been dictated by the kart we've been sat in. So this is a video specifically to highlight that and to show that this track needs to do something pretty urgently about its fleet, because members like us, members that are at the sort of the top end of the game, we see the differences. We know exactly what's a good kart, what's a bad kart, and I and probably others, I'm not prepared to keep putting money into this for Oscar to be on track, to come off track disappointed because of a kart that ruins every single night that we're doing here. So the format for the round is a 5-minute qualifier, which we believe is a practice, followed by 3 heats and then followed by a grid start final. The first heat and the practice session, we're out in this kart now, number 12. We move into a different kart for heat number 2, which we then also have to keep for heat number 3. That is absolutely disastrous for Oscar. His own words after the race, as you'll see, I believe that the camera footage has got it, is that was the worst kart he's ever had, ever, in over 2 years now at Teamsport Birmingham. He said it oversteered, then understeered, then oversteered, then understeered to the left. It was completely unpredictable. He couldn't race it, and it destroyed the entire night. And then we're going into the final for, I believe it's a 20-minute race. So let's get straight into it. Let's get this video done and dusted.
I'm loving this suit.
That was a nice comment there from Jaden, praising Oscar's new suit. We've been getting quite a lot of good praise for it, especially at Club 100 over last weekend up at Wilton Mill. Big moment for me was when Benjamin Hamilton's dad came over to us, praised Oscar's new suit, and also praised us for these videos that we're putting out here and the way that I speak about other juniors on track with Oscar. I do my best to be fair, you know, and to give other drivers a shout out. And I understand, obviously, they're children, essentially, that Oscar's out there racing with, so I'm not going to be harsh on them when things do go wrong on track. You know, that's racing. And, of course, a lot of them are a lot less experienced than Oscar, so we expect situations, you know, that are going to go against us with drivers making mistakes and so on. So, of course, I'll try not to be critical of them in situations where other drivers are purposefully attacking Oscar, as happened a year ago. Of course, I'll highlight that and I'll point that out because that's a different subject altogether. But when drivers are out there just making genuine errors because they're not that experienced, that's perfectly fine. We understand that. We've got to be patient with them. And at the same time, I'll help support them the best I can through our video. You know, at track, if they want any advice, they can always approach us, ask. Both me and Oscar are happy to do whatever we can to help them, you know, learn to improve as fast as they can and potentially become great competitors for Oscar to race with. So let's jump a couple of laps into the qualifying session now and let's see if Oscar's approval of this kart is positive or negative, thumbs up or thumbs down. Well, there you have it. We're off, the night's up and running. Now, anybody who watches our videos regularly will know that I like to screen record the live timing for the qualification rounds. Well, of course, I'm trackside now, believing that Oscar's out there in a practice session, so I'm filming. And I can't be bothered to edit that trackside footage into this bit of video here. It's not worth my time and effort. But unfortunately, I haven't got any live timing screen that I can add over this qualification because they told us this was a practice session. As you can see on screen now, in a kart that Oscar wasn't happy with, he still managed to pull out a P3 qualifying position, so not a bad start to the evening. Let's move on to Heat 1. Now, tell me if I'm being too critical, but before this race gets underway, I just want to quickly point out that Pone ahead has got his visor wide open. He's one of 2 racers in this session that's the same. Now, it was my parents on the upstairs balcony who noticed this. How can my parents notice from upstairs when the marshals that are out on track and in the pits as the drivers are going out onto track don't see a thing? Is it me being critical? You know, picky? Nothing against Pone, of course. But the staff shouldn't be allowing this to happen. Well, if there's one thing we didn't need with an absolutely shocking kart coming up for heats 2 and 3 next, this is it. We definitely didn't need that. We're now down to P11 of 12. We've got a massive recovery race on our hands, so yeah, we've got no hope of getting back up to the top 3 where we were. So what can Oscar do? Can he catch the pack? Can he make a couple of extra positions back? I'm going to skip through this section now and let you see what happened. Well, 5 laps later and we've caught back up with Pone. We were 2.5 seconds behind him, so we're moving at 0.5 of a second a lap faster than him. Now, do we work with him and try and catch the drivers ahead, or do we attack him? We attack. Pone moves over to the right here and Oscar is immediately alongside him into the gap. About 95% there at the point of contact, so perfectly clean pass. So here's a free bit of advice for the Race Academy kids watching this. If you see the kart ahead of Oscar has just used his boost and pulled away from Oscar, but Oscar saves his and uses it right now on the corner, this means the kart ahead potentially thinks that Oscar's no longer in attacking range and isn't defending against him, but Oscar catches up here, uses the overspeed to go up the inside to get the overtake done nice and cleanly. So there's a free bit of advice for you that nobody else out there is offering for this track. You can thank us later. And now it's time to attack CD karting. Let's have some fun with him. Okay, maybe not, because there goes the flag for the end of Heat 1. And we now realise that that overtake that Oscar just did there at the end didn't count because it was after the finish line. So we actually finished P10 in that heat, which is a complete disaster. So just for a bit of visual understanding before we do move on to Heat 2, I'm just going to quickly show you how far off the pack Oscar and Pone actually were in the gap that they had to make up.
Yellow lights. And it's Oscar. He's gone out with Jaden right behind him, so Oscar's out of the race then, that's all over. That could be the end of the grid series.
Oscar is now 15 seconds off where he was in P3, 10 seconds off the kart at the back of the pack, and 2.5 seconds off Pone ahead.
Yeah, Pone and Oscar are out. It's all over. Oscar's now last.
So let's move on to heat number 2 and see what number kart it is that we never want to ever get again. So there it is, the worst kart that Oscar has ever driven in 2 years and a few months of karting. We don't ever want to see this number 39 again. If he gets this in Grid Series round 4 in the next round, I think I'm probably going to kick off. But yeah, this kart, as Oscar said, and I believe I said earlier in this video, was understeering and then oversteering to the left, and it was completely unpredictable. So enjoy what's coming up, because even before we get to the start line, this kart puts Oscar straight to the back of the grid. This is Foxy ahead of us now, who's talking to Oscar, and he thought that Oscar was meant to be starting a position ahead of him because Oscar overtook him at the end of the last race, but he didn't realise that that overtake had happened just after the finish line. So fair play to him, offering the position back to Oscar. Good kid. Now I can only presume that this is a random grid starting race, because the position Oscar's pulled for this one is P6. He's got Foxy ahead of him and Pone behind him, how the last race finished. But we finished in P10 in the last race, so we're starting this one in P6. However, as I said, Pone is directly behind Oscar. We need to keep him there. We do not want him getting ahead of us. That would be an absolute disaster, as he proved in Heat 1 that he can defend solidly against us. Of course, Oscar got past him later in the race, but by that time the damage was already done. So we need to move forward quickly. We got past Foxy straight away at the end of the last heat. Obviously, it was just after the finish line, so it didn't count. So we should be confident here that we can get straight past him. Then we've got CD karting ahead to attack, and we'll see how it goes from there. But we really do need to get a move on. We need a top 3 finishing position in this heat to stand a good chance of a decent starting position for the final. And I will also quickly add, before the race gets underway, that normally we'd be swapping karts in between heats, but for some strange reason, maybe it was a tight schedule that Teamsport were running, they decided to leave us in the same kart that we were in there for Heats 2 this one and for Heats 3 next, which is an absolute disaster for us with this particular kart. Oscar's first self-inflicted spin out in 16 months. Was it self-inflicted or was it the kart? I guess we'll find out. And that was an absolute disaster of a start. We did not want Pone back in front of us. It's going to prove a bit of a nightmare to get past now. As the race started though, Oscar believed it was down to the kart, but if you listen quietly just here now, you can hear a bit of a tap from Pone. I'll replay that a bit more slowly and you can see how it sends Oscar a little bit off the line and allows Pone up the inside. Again, not Pone's fault, the karts ahead of us has slowed a little and Pone just tapped into the back of us as Oscar lifted off the accelerator. So let's get on, let's see what we can do, let's push on. If you look ahead, you can see that the boost light on Pone's kart is clearly on. You can see clearly now that Pone used his boost down the straight, he's slightly opened up the gap on Oscar. Oscar's now just turning his boost on, so we're expecting to close the gap again on Pone. As you can see, we've made no gains on him, so it appears like in the final of the local BRKC finals, we've got another kart that doesn't boost. He sees us, he definitely knows we're on his inside. Why do I feel like we've been here before? Yeah, this one's on you, Pone. You're coming in here trying to get an overtake done on CD karting, but you're attacking him here from a defensive position, so you shot out wide, caused the contact, and that's led to this situation there where Oscar's coming up just behind you, but just as you come to the corner you left it late to turn in, and Oscar was a good 50% alongside at contact. It's a close one, that's one for the marshals to decide. So we'll leave it as it is. It's another racing incident. It's cost us another 2 positions in this race. and the grid series is just looking further and further out of reach for us now. We're now also having to defend from Jaden behind us. We've been racing with him for a couple of years now, so we know we leave him half an inch, he'll stick his kart in it. So it's difficult now to try and move forward while we're keeping tight lines here to ensure that Jaden doesn't pass us. Any regular viewers will know that Oscar likes to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the kart. This one is definitely the biggest thumbs down we've ever seen. last, and now we get the chance to go after CD karting again. If you remember the first heat, we caught up with him right at the very end. So let's see if we can catch him again, and let's see if we can have a battle with him this time. We're reeling him in quite nicely now. Another lap or so, we'll be right on his bumper. Let's go get him. Okay, maybe not, because there goes the flag for the end of Heat 2. Feeling a bit of deja vu here. I do not remember the last time Oscar finished a team sport race lower than he started. Anyway, let's move on. Heat number 3, same kart, starting in P3, right behind CD karting. This is a reversed grid start from the finishing order of the last race. Let's see if we can get him. Let's hope the kart's capable.
Oscar, your car's shit.
Huh?
Your car's shit.
Yeah.
No?
Well, you heard it there from Jaden. You don't need to take my word for it now. Jaden's now explaining to the marshal that on one of the turns where he normally goes about a half rotation like that round, he's now having to go into a complete full lock to get round the turn. These karts are just getting worse by the week. It's ridiculous. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because of our social media following. We could probably cope with it okay if it was, you know, not being seen by the public, but we have a presence on social media. There's a lot of people that watch our videos. So we want what we're capable of to be able to be seen, but what we're capable of isn't being seen due to the kart fleet. So every members night that we've been on now, and of course the grid series that's currently ongoing, since the beginning of September, even including the local BRKC finals, it's all been decided by kart parity. The amount of skill that you have out there really doesn't matter anymore. The electric karts alone, just a standard electric kart fleet, means that skill has gone out the window. It's now basically a case of what kart you get will dictate what position you finish in for the night. It's very difficult in a kart that's maybe 5/10 or a second a lap slower, you know, to keep up with the top people, or anybody that's even usually a second a lap slower than you gets a better kart than you. You can't get close to them. Yeah, it's exceptionally frustrating. And I'm making this video because I'm frustrated of putting money into this for Oscar, to watch him going out there, coming off track. I won't say disappointed. He's not disappointed. He's, you know, he takes it with a pinch of salt. But for me, it's really frustrating. I'm paying sort of £30 for each of these members' nights and these grid series sessions, and we're just not getting value for money. I know £30 not a lot. A lot of people pay a lot more for Teamsport, and I feel that's partly where the issue lies. I think Teamsport Birmingham are focusing more on where the real money is, which is in the public sessions, not in the members' events. So members of the public, they haven't got a clue. If there's 10 seconds of difference between karts per lap, they're going out there, they're putting out times that are 10-15 seconds and more slower than members. They haven't got a clue, and that's where I feel Teamsport are focusing all their efforts now. They need to put more efforts into us, into the members.
My part of the shit.
Ben?
I've finished.
Huh?
Where have you finished so far?
What, last?
Lap.
Second from last in the last one.
Huh?
Second from last in the last one.
What about the other one?
I don't have a clue.
Oh.
Well, Oscar wasn't spot on there. He actually finished P7 of 10, third from the back. Not a great deal better, but at least he had some sort of an idea about where he was. So let's get straight into heat number 3. We're starting in P number 3. Can we keep P number 3? Can we finish in that position? Because I think that would be a good result, you know, before the final, to finish top 3 in this one. We've got Jaden behind us. Of course, he's going to be applying a lot of pressure to us. And we've also got the chance now to finally attack CD karting ahead. So let's see if we can have some fun with him. Hopefully this kart will this time allow us that chance. CD karting, what happened? You look like the nerves got the better of you, mate. You just gave up the position. That was the easiest pass of the night for Oscar. Let's hope we get another chance to go again. You can see there how far ahead of us Pom was on the previous lap, and where he is on this lap now, as you can see, is about half a kart further ahead. We're losing him. This kart at the end of this race places us in P5 for the fastest lap time, despite us spending the entire race out on our own, not lapping. Awful. We're now 3 laps later, Pom's disappearing out of sight, and we've got to be wary of Jaden now closing in behind us. As you can see just here now, Oscar goes around the outside of that part of the track that looks like a drain cover. Jayden goes exactly the same line. Look at where Oscar's right wheels were on the exit and Jayden's left wheels right now. Jayden is a whole kart width over to the right. He's going around the corner tighter and therefore catching up with Oscar. And there's not a lot of anything Oscar can do about it with this kart. Looking up to the heavens because he's totally had enough of this kart now. Another missed apex. If he keeps leaving gaps like this, Jayden will go through one of them. A quick glance backwards there. Oscar knows Jayden's catching up now. I don't think it matters where Oscar would have started in that race. He'd have finished in the same position or slipped backwards. The only reason we made a position in that one was mistakes made by CD Karting in the first lap. But at least we can put this kart behind us now, move on to the finals and see what position we're starting in. And fingers crossed we get a kart that can compete. If ever a picture could say a million words, that's the one. Yep, Oscar's not happy at all with his kart, obviously. Nan and Grandad are looking down on him, I'm looking down on him. We're all putting time and effort out to come and watch him and support him. And it's the karts on track, especially here at Teamsport, that are just letting him down and failing him. And he's not able to show what he can really do. We're not saying we're the only ones that get bad karts. Of course we're not. We know everybody else suffers with it too. But 6+ months now since we can honestly last say that we had a good night here that was all dictated by Oscar's own skill and not dictated by the kart he was sat in. That's pretty ridiculous, especially with the money that's going into team sport.
P2 then. An absolutely shocking kart.
What? Well, this part's actually
Absolutely class, and it's clear Jaden's had a great night too. Brilliant. Alright. Worst kart you've ever had? You had it 2 races in a row. Right, you still had the fastest lap in it, even though the kart was absolutely shite. I don't know why they didn't do a kart swap in the middle. I'm surprised your helmet's still recording. No, that's it. Do you want to go in the calf? He's just said it's probably the worst kart he's ever had.
Yeah, but you still did
He still had the
amazing.
fastest lap in it as well, in what he's quoted as the worst kart he's ever had.
Yeah.
And he had to have it for both races, but it's ruined it. No warmth, had you? There's no warmth.
We could see that.
You got a boost on these ones? Yeah.
Are you going straight out again?
Don't forget you're filming yourself. So if I had it in the video and you're filming... And that's where the video finishes. So you heard it there from Oscar himself that the kart was understeering to the left, then oversteering to the left. We've had somebody on Facebook, not trolling us, but telling us that kart parity isn't a thing, that karters should adapt to each kart, you know, with the faults that they have. You can't adapt to a kart that is unpredictable, that understeers and then oversteers and then understeers. You just can't adapt to that. It's impossible. And it is that has destroyed this these 2 race sessions for Oscar. Anyway, let's leave it behind us. Let's move on. Let's watch Grandad blowing a raspberry.
Tis now.
Yeah, there's something
Might
rare
have
rods
to
and
pay for the karting.
Rare rods and ocean.
Railroad, yeah. You beat
Not
the railroad
recording.
then?
Is it
Yeah,
recording now?
last year.
You did, yeah.
But I'm down as well, didn't you? You see that?
Yeah, we are on the day.
Come on, Oscar. I can win this one.
We were there then.
Yeah, we had.
Are you starting?
Oh no, someone will have up there again.
All I'm going to say is prepare for a dull race where kart issues are again the flavour of the day. And we're starting the final in P7 behind none other than the one and only Pone Pone. It was our nemesis in heats 1 and 2, sending us almost to the back of the pack in heats 1 with a mistake and costing us again in heat 2. So can we pass him cleanly in this one? Can we work our way up the grid? Because a P7 finish in this race would mean that the grid series is 100% over for us. Let's see. Okay, let's analyse this. So, single file here. Pone Pone moves 1 kart width over to the left, leaving the inside open for Oscar. Oscar pounces, gets a good clean overtake. Then we're coming through to this section here. Oscar gets heavily loaded just there from the back, but manages to hold position for the up ramp. Then as we're coming up to this hairpin, Oscar just gets completely taken out from behind, but then saved with a little tap just there from CD karting, which keeps Oscar from losing a hatful of positions. Pone is now cutting across the driver on the outside, and that's the only reason he doesn't take the position off Oscar. Now, I don't want to make Pone sound like the villain, so I've re-edited this. I've done my best here from the trackside footage. And as you'll see, the real villain is the kart behind Pone, the one who looked like the hero. CD karting, this one's on you. As you're coming down the final straight here, as you can see, you load heavily into Pone there, sending his head looking up to the ceiling. He then loads into Oscar, spinning Oscar around. You then take a hefty whack just there off a kart behind. It's all a bit of a mess. But somehow, luckily, with another tap from you, Oscar manages to hold position. And we resume, but you've lost, I can't tell there, but 1 or 2 positions at least. So just a bit more of caution leading up to the hairpins. Be ready for the karts ahead to slow down. As is clear to see after the last kart in the last 2 sessions, this one is turning really nicely. You can see there, Oscar comes round nice and tight on the exit there, just missing this apex and gaining on the drivers ahead. The top speed is fine, he hasn't used his boost yet, he's about to now. And then coming through here, again, nice and tight, gets the undertake. Brilliant. The problem with this kart isn't the steering, it's not its pace, it's its acceleration speed out of the hairpins. So as this race goes on, you'll start to see a pattern emerging where Oscar comes through this section now and loses pace on the karts ahead, and it's just lap after lap after lap from there onwards of catching up with them through this section, getting up to the upstairs section, coming through the double hairpin section, losing them again and spending the next lap catching up. And it's just the same old pattern every single lap. Really, really frustrating, again, watching on from the sidelines. We've now pulled quite a big gap on Pom behind us, which is odd if the kart Parity has nothing to do with this, because in the last race he was pulling away from us. So what's happened? Have we suddenly got better? Has he suddenly got worse? Or is it kart Parity? I'll leave you to decide. We'll definitely take those 2-3 positions. Evan there tried to pass George on the down ramp, it didn't quite come off, and it works in our favour. We're now up to P3, we're in podium contention. Come on, let's do this. And straight away I knew watching on that Oscar wasn't going to stand a chance of shaking Evan off no matter how hard he tried. The parity difference coming out the hairpins upstairs is about to essentially level out every single lap. So several laps Oscar gets a lead through here, through the downstairs section. But as soon as we get back upstairs again, that lead just evaporates. Oscar's having to defend now, so it's making it more difficult to try and regain that gap that he had on the previous lap. Oscar's doing brilliantly here defending, but there's still nearly 10 minutes of this race to go. Can he hold on to P3? And what can we do about catching up with the people ahead of us? Evan's absolutely all over us, it's just starting to look like a matter of time now. We've now managed to create a bit of a gap between ourselves and Evan. Let's see if we can pull away from him and focus on the two ahead, who we're definitely slowly reeling in. This video is now passing the 1 hour mark. The original intention was about 20 to 30 minutes tops. With just over 5 minutes left to go, this is the situation here, how it looked last lap, and this is how it looks now. We're reeling them in really quickly. We can still win this race, it's right there. Okay, we've caught them, now we need to act quickly because Evan's closing in fast behind us. We should have had him here. It's an overtake Oscar's done 1,000 times, but unfortunately Manic drives back into us there just as we come onto the hairpin. That unsettles the kart, Oscar drifts out wide, and it's an easy switch back for him. And just to make matters even worse, that leaves the door open then for Evan behind us to sneak in here. So we're down to P4 when we should have been P2. I think Oscar's done great to still be in contention here so late in the race. But if you have a look at the gap now that builds up, Oscar's pretty much on Evan's rear bumper here. But as you can see now, as they're coming down the down ramp, that gap has just expanded massively from leaving the double hairpin section, which allows Pone to attack us. It's been a frustrating one again, another kart not quite up to the task. But Oscar's not out of it yet, we've still got a podium to fight for. That was a close one, we almost got wiped out on the last lap. So that's another P4 finish for us, the same as in round 2, and this leaves us a hell of a lot of work. If we got any chance of getting to P1 on the podium, we'll essentially need to win rounds 4, 5 and 6, and that's really a game of kart lottery. So we'll head into round 4 next, hoping to get onto the podium, but that's all we can really do, is hope.
So yeah, he's finished P4 again, the same 3 ahead of him as last time, so it's all over. In terms of the Grid Series Championships, it's done. You can't come back from this now too much. Yeah, they raced away early under the yellows. You got stuck in the battle because the ones on behind you caught up with you. And that was pretty much it. You caught back up with them, but it all went wrong.
I completely forgot about that. Let's go back and have a look.
Yeah, this is it now, I think P5. This race is done. He's losing them through this section. Wasn't so obvious. Oh!
This is the incident then that causes the yellow light to come on, as Evan there attempts to go up the inside of George, gets it all wrong and ends up spinning George out. That, unfortunately for George, is the end of his race. Oscar unavoidably shunts the back of Evan and finds a way through. Evan follows Oscar out and the yellow lights now came on. At this point, you can just see Jaden and Manic ahead there. They're 2.2 seconds ahead of Oscar. But right now, under the yellow lights, they're carrying a much higher pace than Oscar is, and they build the lead up to 5.1 seconds by the end of the yellow light. There's a difference there of 2.9 seconds gained for them. On this track, them racers tend to be within a tenth of each other. That's potentially 29 laps for Oscar to catch up with them. The only thing that does enable Oscar to catch up with them is because Manic and Jaden decided to start battling early. If they'd worked together and left the battling until the later part of the race, then Oscar wouldn't have had a chance of getting anywhere near them. So that was just one more difficult circumstance Oscar had against him today. The 3 seconds almost advantage that was made under the yellow lights.
I really wanna shine, you know I just wanna give what I got.
part was rubbish out the hairpins upstairs, wasn't it? I could see you losing the time every single time on the upstairs section out them couple of hairpins.
You worked so hard on that. We got P2 for a little while.
Oh, it's alright, it's held it.